the planes hit the tower, the North Tower, where he was, is incredibly important, but simply isn't covered in the 9/11 Commission report. I think that really my real interest in this aspect is why things aren't covered, or when they are covered, why they're lied about, and why the media are complicit in these lies, and no organisation and no person is ever held accountable. And the video made the point, it singled out a number of generals and such like that were promoted, who on any reasonable view of the evidence should have been court-martialed rather than promoted. But they are simply pawns in the piece. They were carrying out orders. What I'm interested in is who gave the orders and why haven't they been held accountable. I don't subscribe to that view. I think he's as much a pawn as many others.
Gillian. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Frank. Sorry, David. Sorry.
The two aircraft that crashed into the lightweight. The two aircraft that crashed into the steel-framed and glass towers disintegrated. The debris got through and damaged some internal columns, but the penetration of those aircraft didn't really make that bigger, apart from snapping the external columns on the facade. It didn't do a great deal of damage. Whatever hit the Pentagon went through 6 large, thick concrete walls.
No, David, you got it wrong.
See, we have controversy, and controversy is good and healthy. Well, I don't think we should be afraid of it, folks. It's quite acceptable.
The evidence that I've seen suggests to me that it went through 6 reinforced concrete walls. And I'm sorry.
No, there were no walls. The Pentagon's held up on columns. There's a space underneath.
There are masonry infill panels between the columns. That's what keeps the weather out.
Can we possibly agree on one thing? When we've agreed that nothing should have been able to hit the Pentagon. Can we also agree on another point, which is that if they've got nothing to hide, why haven't they shown us the videos? I mean, it's a fair question to ask. Why don't they show us the videos? If it was a 757 that hit the building and they have it on video, why not put all the conspiracy theories to rest by showing it? Well, they just don't show it to us. So, of course people are going to speculate. If they don't show you any images, people are going to speculate.
I think you need to go back one step from that and ask, well, how did the FBI know within minutes to move and confiscate those videos?
Well, that also is interesting. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the first videos were confiscated within 5 minutes of whatever it was that hit the Pentagon. They didn't come down from their headquarters being called out by the fire brigade. They knew what they had to do and when they had to do it, and they did it.
Yeah.
And that's the question that, to my knowledge, has never been asked, certainly not by the 9/11 Commission.
So there appears to be some attempt to cover up. Maybe it wasn't a 757, but maybe the way it was being flown, or maybe it was not a United Airlines 757. Whatever it wasn't just a normal plane doing normal things. No, and it certainly wasn't Honey Hunger at the controls.
Again, it's a broader picture. The plan was in place beforehand. The official story was in place beforehand, and therefore everything that's come out since has had to be consistent as far as possible with that official story. And when, as David Ray Griffin has pointed out on a number of occasions, then evidence is brought up which is contrary to the official story, they simply change the official story. And the original story goes down the memory hole, never to be mentioned again.
Indeed. And I think the 2 points of view there that Frank and David are expressing, this has been going in the truth movement for quite a while now, and sometimes people get a bit bitter over these things, but that's what science is all about. I mean, that's you've got to have differences of opinion to get to the truth, and it doesn't mean one person's right and the other person's wrong either. It's like there are competing theories, and sooner or later the evidence starts to weigh in on certain theories that have more, evidence and that are testable, etc., etc. There's been a lot of other theories in the whole sphere of researching 9/11 that have been thrown out completely by the bulk of the truth movement. Yet people cling on to them. The idea that there were pods strapped to the planes, for example. The idea that there was video fakery and that no planes hit the buildings. These were ideas that maybe were interesting ideas to discuss, right? But as the research went on and on and on, those ideas were just ruled out because they didn't match the evidence. And so there are still ongoing controversies that you'll find people are quite passionate about. Just basically expressing their point of view, and people who are qualified should be able to. I totally respect that.
I think the evidence that something hit the Pentagon is quite clear, with the simple fact that it could never have been a Boeing 757 because the friend or foe identification is impossible.
I disagree with that one.
Not if it was turned off.
Yeah.
So
if it was turned off, then it was certainly an inside job.
Yes.
It couldn't have been a big Boeing, just on the grounds of that, on the grounds of the ground effect. A big plane coming into the Pentagon at such speed at a low level would have created a tremendous ground effect, and there was none of that. It could not have been coming in at an angle steeply.
Well,
that's
not actually correct. I have talked about ground effect numerous times before, because originally we were told about this very low trajectory that the plane was happening, but we've now got 3 flight paths that the plane took. If it was Flight 77, there's the official version that we saw in a computer animation. There's the actual version that was seen by the witnesses and seen by the damage, the poles, etc. And then there's the version that we got in the raw data, the flight data recorder raw data that was got basically by the Freedom of Information Act, and that raw data produced a new graphic. The Polis for Truth did a new graphic that showed it in a different position completely. So really, I think that the Pentagon's been designed to confuse and to waste time. And that's what I see, and that's what it's doing again tonight. Really, I'll tell you now, it's possible that the plane hit there. It's possible it was a 757. It's more likely it wasn't Flight 77 or something else, because the witnesses say it was white. There's other evidence that shows maybe it wasn't quite a 757, who knows, but a large twin engine aircraft most likely hit the building. But we don't know why. We don't know whether it blew up before. We don't know why there's the punch-out hole. All these other crazy things, but it really just wastes time. When we've got so much great evidence in the towers and Building 7 and other things, the evidence of the cover-up, the evidence of the changing testimony, the fact that people that were in the 9/11 Commission, like Myers, they were proven to lie numerous times, and they would have actually been indicted for lying, for perjury, but the Commission wasn't given the right to do that. They weren't given the right to take people that were lying and bring them in front of a court. So those things are more important. Really, the Pentagon's just a real waste of time. I spent a year looking into it, and I ended up not really knowing much more.
I completely disagree with that. I don't think the Pentagon's a waste of time at all. I think there's abundant evidence that the official story is wrong on that. And the film Zero, in my opinion, is just absolutely excellent. Its real strength is that it goes into great detail in showing that the attacks didn't happen, couldn't possibly have happened.